Welcome to the Inquisitive Leader podcast. My name is Bowie Carpenter. I am a visionary, advisor, strategist, and executive coach, bringing over 29 years of professional experience as an individual contributor, manager, and leader of large-scale teams. I'm also the creative architect of this podcast. It is such a pleasure to welcome you into the Inquisitive Leader community. Today's episode is about unlocking opportunities through authentic networking. Let's start by addressing one of the biggest myths about networking, that it's a skill best suited to extroverts. The idea that only loud or outgoing people thrive in networking might be convenient, even comforting, but it's far from the truth. Anyone, yes, absolutely anyone, can expand their career opportunities through strategic connections. And honestly, the numbers back this up. Did you know that 85% of professionals actually secure jobs through their networks? That's not just a little bit here or there. That's a game changer. This brings me to one of my favorite frameworks in social relationships, something called the strength of weak ties. It was proposed by sociologist Mark Granovetter. And his theory, which connects weak social ties to opportunity, is even more relevant today. So let's break it down. Strong ties, like close friends, have access to the same kind of information you do. They're in your circle. But weak ties, on the other hand, those acquaintances, those occasional LinkedIn connections, or even that person you chatted with briefly at a conference, they're a direct link to different worlds, untapped knowledge streams, and frankly, entirely new paths you didn't even know existed. Here's something powerful. According to studies, about 84% of people who landed jobs through networking did so through weak ties. That's huge. And it shows us something crucial. Networking is not about how many deep bonds you create. It's about being open-minded enough to explore relationships that lie just outside your comfort zone. It's those seemingly fleeting connections that often yield the most profound impact. You know, this reminds me of an experience that stuck with me. About 5 years ago, I attended a conference. Now, I always like to sit near the front for events like that. The view is better, and I get the perfect mental space to just absorb things. During one of the breaks, I ended up sharing a cup of coffee with someone I'd never met before. It wasn't planned. It certainly wasn't a networking agenda. But we got to talking, and I listened as they told me about a project they'd been leading. Fast forward 5 years, and that same individual became a pivotal connection for me. I mean, it's amazing how, when you're open to it, the smallest of interactions can become so transformational. And those weak ties, those moments of serendipity, they're why networking isn't as formulaic as people often expect. It's not about the quantity or longevity of connections. It's simply about showing up, engaging, and being present in the right moments. As we explore networking further, let's address something crucial: the network gap. Now, this concept refers to differences in access to opportunities stemming from variations in social background. Essentially, where you're born, the schools you attend, the neighborhood you live in, all these factors can amplify or limit your chances. And sometimes, without us realizing it, these invisible barriers define whose careers flourish and whose don't. Here's a reality check. Did you know that approximately 70% of job positions aren't openly advertised? If you're not part of a network that grants you access to these hidden opportunities, navigating your career can feel like climbing without a map. On top of that, studies show that most people, about 84%, secure jobs through their weak ties. Now imagine if your weak ties are, well, practically non-existent. So then how do we create networks that are intentional and inclusive? It starts with reframing the way we think about access. For instance, when mentoring or collaborating, are we incorporating all voices? Are we giving others a place at the table, or simply filling it with people who already sound like us and think like us? You don't have to overthink how to start. Commit to small, brave actions. Reach out to someone you know little about, someone whose life experience might be so different it feels awkward at first. Because often, the most meaningful connections are born from curiosity paired with intentionality. When we think of networking, it's so easy to imagine the exchange of business contacts or brief, polite conversations. But what happens when we go beyond that? When we stop focusing on the surface and let real curiosity guide our conversations? In my experience, that's where the magic lies. Moving from transactional to authentic relationships unlocks doors we didn't even know existed, because those relationships carry something deeper: trust, mutual interest, and most importantly, genuine human connection. And here's the secret ingredient: empathy. By approaching others not with an agenda, but with a sincere curiosity about their journey, we allow space for surprising connection. This isn't just for those one-off moments. Whether you're attending a virtual seminar or chatting in person at an industry event, bringing curiosity and empathy can reshape the way you interact. Let me give you a small example. Imagine asking someone not just what do you do, but what excites you about your work these days. That subtle shift invites an entirely different level of dialogue. Now, I want to share a mentoring story that continues to inspire me. One of my mentees, let's call her Cameron, was someone who initially felt overwhelmed by the thought of networking. She'd tell me, "I don't have the right person to approach," or "everyone's so much further along than I am." Sound familiar? But we worked on reframing her mindset. Instead of focusing on who she lacked in her network, I encouraged her to be curious about the people around her, however small or distant the connection might seem. She decided to start small, reaching out to someone she admired over email, engaging in online educational forums, and eventually attending a local industry meetup. What amazed me wasn't just that Cameron became more confident. It was how quickly her approach evolved. Within a year, she'd carved out a network not just of professionals she knew, but of individuals she deeply respected and who respected her in return. And the best part? Cameron didn't just gain opportunities, she started paying it forward, helping others who were just as hesitant as she once was. By putting curiosity and authenticity into action, she created connections that had ripple effects far beyond her own growth. So I'll leave you with this. Networking isn't about mastering a formula or performing at events. It's showing up with intention, being curious about others, and showing empathy in ways that add depth. Because the truth is, authentic relationships don't just bring value to our careers, they enrich our lives in ways we can't measure. And ultimately, isn't that the kind of impact we're all striving for? On that note, thank you for joining me in exploring this topic that's so close to my heart. I hope you walk away feeling empowered to approach networking in a way that feels more meaningful and authentic to you. Until next time, take care and happy connecting.